As climate talks get underway in Paris, European leaders are calling for a climate agreement that will both cut CO2 emissions and boost growth. Now, joining us to discuss this is Manfred Weber. You're the chairman of the EPP group here in the European Parliament. Now, what would you like to see in this climate treaty that would find that sort of balance between cutting CO2 and boosting growth?
Well, we as Europeans, we showed in the past that there is no problem between these two things because Europe is an innovation-driven economy. So we need innovations, and new energy without CO2 is one of these innovations which are important for our industry. So I think we did a lot in the past. Europe is a positive model. When we go to Paris, we showed that we can do a lot on cutting CO2 emissions, and I'm sure that this will also contribute to a good economic future.
And how can the EU persuade other countries to sign on to this climate treaty? When you have this problem of carbon leakage, some companies might be leaving the EU to other countries where there are lax emissions policies.
First of all, we as Europeans, we have to understand that a lot of states on a global level have not already achieved what we achieved from a living standards point of view. And that's why we have to understand that they want to live like we live. But we have to convince them that you cannot do it like we did it in the last decades. You have to do it in another model with new technologies. You have to go one big step to new models of technologies. And when you see, for example, the behavior of China, then I have to say they understand step by step. They understand now that they cannot do it in the old way with CO2 technologies. They have to do it in a modern way. I think we can go this way.
Is it a question of technology transfer to some countries, for instance, India?
Absolutely. Transfer, and we have to talk about money. It's absolutely sure that we as rich countries on this global level, we have to contribute with money that others can really join this CO2 reduction way.
And there is resistance among some EU countries to cutting CO2 because they're so heavily dependent on fossil fuels. How do you get them to play ball?
Well, let me first of all underline once again that we can be proud, first of all, because in Paris, Europe, the member states in the European Union, and we as Europeans, we are the positive model because we did in the last 10 years, in the last decades already big steps in reducing CO2 on our continent. So we are the positive model when we compare it with America, with China and with others. So we can be very proud of this. And if we want to go now further steps, we have to do the same model like we have to do on global level. We have to help those who have to make a big change in their economy, in their energy production system and so on. We have to help them. That's for Poland, for Hungary, for a lot of, especially in the east of Europe, member states, we have to contribute to their development with a fair burden sharing.